Ooh. Lights out. City still. While they dream soft, I'm already in motion. Clock hit late, house quiet, mind still sharp. They under the covers, I'm under the dark. No noise in the hallway, no phone in my hand. Just the weight of the work and the plan that I plan. I move when they sleep while the soft ones rest. While they chase comfort, I'm still in the test. Detroit tall early, don't wait for the light. If you want it real bad, you get up in the night. Seen too many talk big, then fold when it's hard. Seen the ones who stay up, still carry the guard. So I move in the silence, no crowd, no stage. Just the same old fire that don't need no praise.
It's not like I move when they sleep. Still got that while the weak ones dream. I move when they sleep, building quiet in me. No lights, no cameras, just the grind in the chest. I move when they sleep, put the soft ones to rest. They wake up later, still wondering why I'm already moving while they close their eyes.
Bass walking heavy, organ humming low. Snare crack clean, kick pushing every blow. They sleep on the truth, sleep on the code, sleep on the men who still carry the load. I ain't mad at the rest, I just don't take part. I'd rather stay hungry than get soft in the heart. Late nights built legends, quiet hours built kings, while the loud ones slept on the realest of things. So I keep the same hours that the real ones keep. Out here still moving while the soft ones sleep.
I move when they sleep, while the weak ones dream. I move when they sleep, building quiet in me. No lights, no cameras, just the grind in the chest. I move when they sleep, put the soft ones to rest. They wake up later, still wondering why I'm already moving while they close their eyes.
Let them rest, let them dream soft. I'll be right here, still carrying the cost.
I move when they sleep, while the weak ones dream. I move when they sleep, building quiet in me. No lights, no cameras, just the grind in the chest. I move when they sleep, put the soft ones to rest. They wake up later, still wondering why I'm already moving while they close their eyes.
Still moving,
still building.
while they sleep. Oh shoot, what up though, what's happening y'all? What is going on? Hope all is well with each and every last one of y'all. Man, have y'all heard the news? If y'all have not heard the news, then maybe you've been sleeping up under a rock. But as always, once again, Sale was right. And no one will tell me that I was right. But it's alright though, right? I don't need everybody to tell me I was right because I know I was right? And the sad part is that regardless how people really feel about it, I have always said from the very get-go, from that very, very, very long ago stream that I had when I was on my balcony and I was smoking a cigar, and I said, alright, cool. So,
If you can hear me, please put a 1 in the chat. Let me check my audio right quick. If you can hear me, please put a 1 in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat. All right, cool. So we are streaming directly from Streamlabs. We're not using StreamYard tonight because StreamYard be on some bull. And I just think that Streamlabs has more customability. I swear y'all drinking red Kool-Aid over there. Hey, just me. Delicious. You understand me? Delicious. All right? It's delicious red Kool-Aid. But listen, because I don't want to waste too much time. All I want to do is get into the facts, just me. And 2 years ago, I did a live stream and I said, hey, Karmelo, who did you talk to? Does anybody remember me saying that? Huh? Does anybody remember me saying, hey, who did you talk to? Who did you send a text message to? What did you say in those text messages? Does anybody remember me saying that? C-Train, what up, though? Does anybody remember me saying that? I said this a little while ago. What did you say? And now everybody was up in arms. Well, why did they have to make a gentleman's agreement as to only talk about what happened up under the tent? Just me. Some of those text messages that I was telling y'all about. Some of them text messages I was telling y'all about. Guess what happened, just me? Guess me, just what happened? Now they get to talk about the text messages in the open. This is why I said, I don't think y'all want to get this retried. Yeah, but if y'all want to, right? If y'all want to get this retried, y'all gonna find out a lot about the hoodlum hooligan nigga Karmelo Anthony. But I don't want to be the one to keep on beating the dead horse. Right? Exactly, harmonized. Hard heads. Right? Hard heads. But that's all right. I don't want to be the spoiler of the news. I'll just let the TV tell it.
Up under Metcalf's team's
Hey, put a 1 in the chat if y'all can hear this.
Reportedly fantasized about knives and stabbing someone in the hours before he killed Austin Metcalf.
Hey, remember I told y'all don't really know this boy Karmelo like y'all think y'all know Karmelo. And finally, since his girlfriend has come to the forefront, I guess I can go ahead and say this too. Hey, baby girl, why you break up? Yeah, vertical only tonight, Deacon Dave, because I'm using Streamlabs, not StreamYard. StreamYard pissed me off. But hey, baby girl that broke up with Karmelo Anthony, or at least, you sent them down a spiraling avenue to where he felt on the edge. He was on the verge. You remember that?
Put his hands on me. I told him not to. He put his hands on me.
It is a bombshell update from prosecutors in an appeal hearing today over Anthony's attempt to have his murder conviction overturned.
Uh-oh.
What's your name, man?
Karmelo Anthony, K-A-R-M-E-L-O.
What this means for Anthony's efforts to argue that his original trial was unfair. We're on the case presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart.
Hey, Chris Stewart. Y'all about to learn.
Remember back in June during
Y'all about to learn a lot about Karmelo Anthony, things that I've known about for quite some time, and still I have not outed my source. But for those of you who's been watching the channel for quite some time, I said a little while ago, maybe a little bit over a year and a half ago, that a little something came across my desk. And this little something that came across my desk that I've been telling y'all about for forever, that these text messages, these communications, when I said, Karmelo, who did you talk to? Who did you talk to? Who was in your ear? Guess what?
Karmelo Anthony's murder trial, there was not much testimony at all about who he is. No witnesses vouching for his character, no talk of his background. And Anthony's new attorneys are arguing that's because his defense made a gentleman's agreement with prosecutors to only focus on the moments surrounding the fatal stabbing of Austin Metcalf at a track meet. They wanted to, in their words,
So, for everybody that wanted to know the burning question, why did Karmelo have that knife? I been knew why he had the knife. You said muted the video? Hold up. I didn't mute the video.
reportedly revealed a big piece of information that may explain why Karmelo Anthony's original defense team agreed to keep things under the tent. Shock.
Oh, Just Me says, what were the text messages? Oh, that his girlfriend was breaking up with him and he sent her a picture of him holding a knife and he said that he was ready to do some damage because he was spiraling out of control and anybody can get it. Yes, Karmelo went to that track meet as a nigga because he was spiraling out of control because his girlfriend was breaking up with him. But don't let me tell it. We're going to listen to the news.
Text messages that Anthony allegedly sent related to knives and stabbing. Karmelo Anthony is requesting a new trial, and today is day 2 of a hearing in Texas to decide if he's going to get one. He was convicted of stabbing fellow track athlete Austin Metcalf to death at a track meet, high school track meet in Frisco, Texas in April of last year, right outside of Dallas.
He put his hands
on me.
That's the body cam video of the aftermath of the incident. And you'll remember that Anthony ended up under Metcalf's team's tent as this meet was going on, the two of them reportedly exchanging words. And when Metcalf gets up to physically remove Karmelo Anthony from that tent, he shoves Karmelo Anthony, and there was that blurry surveillance video that showed it.
Malcolm, what up, though? I'm Just Me says, I got to see those text messages. I saw the text messages over a year and a half ago. Almanai says, what was the part about licking the tip after he stabbed whoever he came across? Hey, see, this is the thing, right? This is why I love and also hate speaking on hot topics, right? Because when you know about things that other people don't know about, you got to be careful how you deliver it. Because not a lot of people, hey, baby, I'm on Streamlabs, y'all, so I can't highlight y'all comments. I got to figure out how to do the highlighted comment. But yeah, we going to get to it. Hold on. We got a whole 28 minutes of film. Let's go.
And in response, a split second, Anthony takes a knife out of his backpack and stabs Austin Metcalf once in the heart, killing him. Anthony's new team, a very high-profile team of lawyers,
absolutely,
are arguing, though, that Karmelo's rights were violated during that jury trial several times. And we're going to talk about those arguments here in just a moment, including his right to a public trial. You'll remember that audio and video recordings of the proceedings were not allowed, and only a handful of media outlets like us were given credentials to be able to have someone in the courtroom to witness all of it. We had Cody Thomas from Court TV, you'll remember.
Also, since I'm using Streamlabs and not StreamYard, somebody send $1 on the super chat. I'm trying to see if it'll show up on my Streamlabs. Thank you.
And you only had about 24 people from the public who were allowed in that courtroom. Now, the judge who made the call as far as those restrictions on the case, he's actually been tossed from overseeing Anthony's appeal. And we'll talk more about that here in just a moment. But I need to get to these text messages and evidence that prosecutors talked about today. And these are things that the jury did not know about. I mean, none of us knew about it.
I knew about it. Nope. Excuse me, law and crime. I knew about it. I knew about it over a year and a half ago when I told everybody. Appreciate you, Deacon Dave, so I can see my super chats on the vertical live on Streamlabs. Thank you, Harmonize. Thank you. Testing 1, 2, 3. I got $1. Appreciate you. All right, let's continue. Because I don't want to do too much talking.
Of local media outlets like WFAA and NBC DFW, who are in the courtroom today for this hearing, who are giving information, live updates about a lot of the testimony that's happening. And we have to talk about what Assistant District Attorney for Collin County, Bill Werski, had to say.
Yes.
And what he claims happened in the hours before this track meet on the day that Austin Metcalf lost his life. Because he says that Karmelo Anthony's girlfriend, hours before, told an assistant principal at their high school.
Listen, nope. Put a 1 in the chat. I need everybody's engagement. Listen, is you listening? Put a 1 in it. Put that 1 in the chat if you're listening. Listen. Like Jennifer Hudson. Listen.
On the day that Austin Metcalf lost his life, because he says that Karmelo Anthony's girlfriend, hours before, told an assistant principal at their high school.
What'd she tell him?
That the couple had broken up. And that she said she allegedly was afraid. She claimed that Karmelo Anthony was stalking her.
Stalking. I thought y'all said Karmelo Anthony was a good kid. I thought y'all said he was a 4.0 student. I thought y'all said that he was a good kid and he saved people's lives. I thought y'all said that this. What happened? You mean to tell me he crashed out over some pussy? You mean to tell me are you a homosexual? He crashed out over some pussy. So Austin Metcalf lost his life because this man crashed out over some pussy? Is that what's going on? Lord Jesus.
WFAA says that the ADA also claimed today in the courtroom that Anthony was allegedly obsessed with guns, fights, and knives.
Oh, wait a minute. So I was right the whole fucking time that this boy was obsessed with guns, fights, knives, and pussy. That's, boy, not one of yous bets not ever in your lives. You best not ever.
And prosecutors allegedly have a text message that Anthony sent where he fantasized about stabbing someone and licking the blood off the blade.
Wait a minute. Hold on. So this boy was fantasizing about stabbing someone and then licking the tip? Wait a minute. Y'all said that he was a 4.0 student. Y'all said he was a good kid. Y'all, what? Justice says, how will certain content creators twist this one? They can't. And this is why, vehemently, for since this case began, and since I got a copy of those text messages across my desk, which I have never shown to nobody. Since I got this is why I went live over a year and a half ago and I said, hey, Karmelo, who'd you talk to? Who did you talk to? I just want to know. Where is y'all apologies? Where's all the people who were standing outside the courthouse? He such a good kid. He go put a point on it, and he down the $2, and he was a good kid, and he got put a he was mad and distraught because his pussy was breaking up with him. But we ain't done yet. It's more. Because this kid seen himself as the Joker. Right? Not only did he see himself as a Joker, he seen himself as a vampire. This man was ready to lick the tip. I've never heard a man in my life say, yeah, I'm a stabber, y'all, and then I'm going to lick the tip. You going to do what? Pause. Wait a minute. Flag on pay. Shoot. Something. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. We ain't done yet, though. Let's keep going.
And he allegedly sent a text that said, quote, "I'm low-key on the verge."
Oh.
Anthony stabbed Austin Metcalf to death hours later. The jury never heard that. Now, the ADA also reportedly says that Anthony had gone to a program for juveniles when he was younger who struggle with anger.
Ain't that a bitch? Wait a minute. Time out. Hold on. Flag on play. Wait a minute. I thought you was I thought you were doing that. I went to with the player. Wait. Why did he go for a behavioral facility for kids with anger issues? Could it be that maybe Karmelo Anthony was a nigga? Oh my God. I can't believe you're saying that. Say like Pac. Malcolm D says, so you and Angry Man was right again. So this whole entire time, Karmelo Anthony was a nigga? He was a nigga? Lord Jesus.
That was something that was not presented in court during his trial. Now, this appears to be the reason that prosecutors and Karmelo's defense made what they're calling a gentleman's agreement not to insert character testimony into the case. Again, they're calling it a gentleman's agreement. The assistant district attorney for Collin County reportedly said that the deal went both ways because in exchange for not talking about Karmelo Anthony's ex-girlfriend, that text message, his life when he was still living in Louisiana, where he went to some sort of juvenile program for...
Now we know why they moved from Louisiana. Well, at least now y'all know why he moved from Louisiana. He moved from... His parents moved him out of Louisiana because he was down there fucking up. He was fucking up.
Young people who struggle with anger, they say that there were things that the defense didn't bring up about Austin Metcalf's past. The ADA says that Metcalf allegedly put, quote, vile racist stuff on graffiti, and that was not presented to the jury. The defense alleges that Metcalf also had a history of being aggressive, and that was something that the defense for Karmelo Anthony, they weren't able to talk about during the trial. Now, the reason the prosecutor said that this deal was...
So Austin had racist... Sal, how come you not talking about that? Okay, cool. So let's put it out there. Austin Metcalf allegedly participated in putting up racial graffiti. Oh my God. Austin Metcalf, he's a non-nigger lover. Oh my God. You're going to defend white people. I don't defend racists. I don't defend racists. So if Austin Metcalf was a racist, guess what? You was a racist. Cool. Now here's the question. Which one do you deserve to lose your life for? And I want everybody in the chat to answer this question. Do you deserve to lose your life because you a racist? Or do you deserve to lose your life because your pussy then broke up with you? Which one do you deserve to lose your life for? For some pussy or because you a racist?
Reach between both sides. It was not to add fuel to the fire. And you saw the amount of attention during this trial from individuals that typically aren't covering true crime. And there was political talk of this. This made its way into racial discussions in this country. And the prosecutor says they didn't want any of that to factor into what was happening in the courtroom. Now, the defense is arguing, though, this gentleman's agreement, and I'm talking about Karmelo's new defense, they're arguing that the agreement restricted witnesses from being able to testify that could have helped Karmelo Anthony tell his side of the story, like an expert on epilepsy, to talk about how that impacted, in their opinion, Karmelo Anthony's potential perception of a threat. He was diagnosed with epilepsy, apparently. Here's another part of it. There's really no record of it. It was.
Wait, stop. So you mean to tell me there's no record, there's no documentation, there's nothing diagnosing this kid with epilepsy? So he ain't got no epilepsy on the record? Wait a minute. There's no piece of paper that says that this boy got epilepsy? Almanac say, I knew that. So he ain't got epiwepi? Wait, because how you play football with epiwepi? That ain't how that works. Let's keep going.
Apparently. Here's another part of it.
Mm-hmm.
There's really no record of it.
Damn.
It wasn't written out.
Oh.
It was only verbal between both sides because they did not want the media, for example, getting wind of it and reporting about it as the buildup to this trial went on. So there's a lot of layers to this story, as you know, if you're joining us here now. So I do want you, just before we get into a little bit more about this, I'm going to have Vinny Politan from Vinny Politan Investigates, Court TV. He's going to be here in a moment. I want you to write down a promo code for me. File, ton of documents, things for you to see. Can list.
Thank you for the promo. Let's keep going.
Another argument that Anthony's new legal defense team is making in their appeal is looking at whether Anthony was someone who had his rights violated when he did not testify in his own defense. Now, in a lot of self-defense cases, you see the person who's involved in the altercation get on the stand and tell their side of the story.
That's true.
But that didn't happen in this case. And the defense says on the last day of witness testimony in this trial, so right before Karmelo would have testified in his own defense, the prosecution declared that gentleman's agreement deal dead. Because they say, the prosecution, that the defense had already violated that deal and opened the door back during opening statements.
Told you.
Because they mentioned that Karmelo Anthony liked playing chess.
That's a character statement.
The defense says that Karmelo was then given, after the prosecution said everything's on the table.
Yep.
Karmelo Anthony was given 10 minutes to decide whether he wanted to testify in his own defense.
And guess who ultimately made that decision for him not to testify?
And now that we know what prosecutors allegedly had, like those messages, the situation involving his girlfriend, talk of stabbing, fantasizing about those things.
Hey, Uda on go and Izzy Bands. Now we know what the argument was about. Now we know what the argument was about. The prosecution was threatening, since everything's on the table now, we're going to ask about the text messages. We're going to ask about the girlfriend. We're going to ask about the behavioral institution that you was in Louisiana. We're going to talk about this I'm on the verge and I want to lick the tip. Pause. Malcolm D says, Will, couldn't they find information about Karmelo when he was living in Louisiana as far as bad priors? They possibly could, but yes, he was a juvenile. So guess what? Karmelo gets on the stand, and now you are open to questioning about you being a bad actor. A nigga. Let's continue.
A history where potentially he was in some sort of program for kids who struggled with anger. All of that without this deal. That was going to be on the table. It would have been fair game.
Fair game.
And the defense said that because of that, Karmelo decided not to testify in his own defense.
So, I'm going to ask y'all a question. Karmelo deciding not to get on the witness stand because he was afraid of accountability staring him dead in the face. Who's responsible for Karmelo not getting on the stand? Himself or his defense attorney?
And to this point, the rest is history in a lot of ways. The jury took 3 hours, found him guilty of murdering Austin Metcalf, and Karmelo Anthony is now serving as much as 35 years in a Texas prison. Now, before I get Vinny Politan on here again from Court TV, I also want to talk about another big development that came in the last day in this case, because the judge who oversaw the original trial, his name is John Roach. He's been removed from overseeing this appeals process. Karmelo's legal team says that Roach was biased toward the courtroom verdict. In an interview with local TV station WFAA-TV, and this was days after the verdict, this is part of what Roach said.
Yeah, they did. You know why? Because they were picked based upon the law. They listened to the facts that happened here in this very courtroom, and they got a verdict. And so that's the process. And whatever they say, they get it right.
And on Wednesday, a judge decided that it would be best for Judge Roach to be recused in this case. All right,
fine. But if that's the statement that they're saying shows bias, that's a weak argument. But let's continue.
Let's bring in Vinny Politan, host of Vinny Politan Investigates, VPI, on Court TV's YouTube channel. Good to see you, Vinny.
Good to see you, Chris. Wow, here we are, right?
Well, and I remember because Cody Thomas was in the courtroom for us during this trial, and each day that we did a recap, it was kind of like, where's the meat about who Karmelo Anthony is, and why are they not talking about
because
his
there was
background? Can't they try and soften him a bit? They mentioned he played chess in the opening statements, and then there was really nothing else. And then we learn about this deal.
Mentioning that he played chess was a character statement. You can't say that in a agreement stating that we're not going to talk about Karmelo Anthony's character and then turn around and say he was a chess player. That's a character statement.
And you're like, why would you make that deal? And then today, prosecutors, according to the reports that we're getting from local TV stations in the courtroom, talk about these text messages that Karmelo Anthony sent in the hours before he killed Austin Metcalf. And that certainly provides a little bit of context as to why the defense attorney, who at the time we're recording this, he is on the stand, Mike Howard, would reach this deal with prosecutors.
Yeah, it's I understand the deal. I understand why. I guess both sides would kind of want it. All right, we'll just stay away from this for both sides, and we'll move forward and focus on what happened under the tent in those moments. But it does a couple of different things in terms. Somebody's going to lose the trial, so somebody's going to be angry. But if prosecutors lose, they don't get to appeal. So it always falls on the other side, right? So you've lost the trial. Now you start taking a look back at everything that happened, and this is the opportunity to take another look and try to get another bite at the apple and question the decisions that were made first time through. But when you think about that evidence, I mean, that evidence would be powerful if the jury heard about what he was allegedly texting about beforehand involving knives and blood.
Y'all gonna get this boy 60-something years. That's what y'all gonna do to this boy. Y'all are sacrificing this boy for your protest. Y'all are putting this boy up for slaughter. That's what y'all doing. Y'all making it worse for him. Has he even acted like he had remorse? I think the only remorse that he had is that he had ain't shit ass parents. And that he had a whole bunch of ain't shit ass supporters that was out there putting this boy up as a sacrificial lamb. The worst thing that happened to Karmelo is the people that was around him. They wasn't his support system. These were his enablers. These were his defenders. These were the people who did not have his best interest at heart. They only had enough in it for themselves.
And that would be very problematic for Karmelo Anthony and his defense. Understandably, they want to do everything they can to keep it out. But usually, these are the types of issues that it's not like a handshake deal. Okay, you don't do this, we won't do that. It's like you have hearings before the trial, and the judge decides what's admissible and what's not admissible. Like a deal like this sounds very unusual to me, especially in a high-profile case like this, for there to be some sort of handshake deal on you don't do this and we won't do that and we'll just go forward, as opposed to what evidence should lawfully come before the jury and what evidence should not lawfully come before a jury. That's the way it's done, like in almost every other case, which, again, that in and of itself could become a problem here for this case.
Well, it seems like it goes both ways, too. And I don't know which one would have been more damning. I mean, certainly the idea that Karmelo Anthony allegedly was talking about knives in the hours before, and it was going through this breakup, which, like, you look at someone's state of mind. I mean, he's, potentially having a bad day already. He's tense. And then he has this knife. And then he sends a text message saying that he was on the verge. That there. And then hours later, if that was presented to the jury, and you're sitting there, you're like, okay, I can see why the defense was like, let's just do everything we possibly can that this does not reach a jury. On the other hand, apparently Austin Metcalf, according to prosecutors, had a history when it came to some racist graffiti, and that could have been inserted in the trial. So that was kind of the agreement back and forth. But if I'm a juror today on this, and though they reached the decision of Karmelo Anthony being guilty of the murder of Austin Metcalf, I still would have felt today a little bit gypped, where it's I would have appreciated understanding, like, that to me is major context of what led up to being under the tent. And I would be frustrated that there was a sense, and I hate using the word gamesmanship because that's like a sports term, and we're talking about lives and murder and all of that. But the fact that there was some, and I'm just looking at updates here from NBC DFW saying that Mike Howard, the defense attorney, described what he called a shadow docket and an old school way of conducting legal business. Like, I'd be frustrated as a juror that was something that was decided and that was kept away from me as a juror trying to decide whether or not a young man should spend several decades in prison.
Yeah. And what do? We bring in members of the public to come in. They don't sign up for it. They don't volunteer. It's part of their civic duty, but they come in and their job is to figure out the truth. And then we keep important facts away from them. So are we really, like, a search for justice is supposed to be a search for the truth. But how do you get to a search for the truth when significant
withholding
facts
evidence
and factors, and like you said, context, are kept from the jury? They really can't do their jobs.
So at this point, I want to say this. I'm actually in agreement. Now watch how I frame this, y'all, and y'all tell me if y'all agree with me or not. I'm actually in agreement with Karmelo Anthony's defense team, his new defense team. I'm actually in agreement with Karmelo Anthony's supporters. I don't think Karmelo Anthony got a fair trial. I think we should have known about the text messages about how he was spiraling out of control. I think we should have known what's going on. New legend. An untold legend. I think that we did get I think that Karmelo Anthony got an unfair trial. Yes, he deserves another bite at the apple. We should know about his bad behavior. We should know about his knife wielding, knife obsession. We should know about his anger issues. We should know about his juvenile background. We should know about the fact that he was he got broken up with his girlfriend, so he was ready to just kill anyone. We should have known about that. You know what? Yeah, I'm a Karmelo supporter. We should have known about that. We got cheated, right? We got cheated out of all of the context and all of the facts that was needed to make sound judgment on this case. Yeah, we definitely got cheated. Yeah, I'm Team Karmelo on this one. We should have known that this boy was spiraling out of control and he was ready to stab anyone at that point. But primarily, since he sent that text message to his girlfriend, that he was ready to be violent towards her. Yes, we should have known that. And I don't know if y'all agree with me or not, but that's my synopsis of it. I feel cheated and I feel I am underwhelmed that I did not have all of the facts to build a character synopsis around who Karmelo Anthony was as a human being, right? I learned that Karmelo Anthony was a chess player. I learned that Karmelo Anthony was a captain of a football team. I learned that Karmelo Anthony, he had a job. I learned that Karmelo Anthony was so-called a good kid. I learned that he came from a two-parent household. And I also learned that he allegedly was now convicted, stabbed, and killed someone. What I didn't know at the time, this is if I was a juror, I wish I would have known that this boy had anger issues. I also wish I would have known that he had an obsession with knives and he was a violent individual, had anger issues, and even back home in Louisiana where his parents brought him from, that he had to be put into a mental health facility for his behavioral issues and his temperament controls, that this boy had low impulse control. Yeah, I definitely feel cheated. I'm hashtag Team Karmelo. I'm a hashtag Team Karmelo. Yeah, let's continue.
And this is one place where I've for years, I've railed against the system. I've always said more is better in front of the jury. They're always doing this test of prejudicial versus probative, and we sort of shield and put blinders on the jury so often. But I think jurors are smart, and I think they can put things in perspective.
Absolutely. They can do 2 + 2. Cooley Cat, what's going on? Joe Butter says, citizens are saying they agreed to suppress this information to avoid public outrage. What public outrage could be avoided? To find out that Karmelo Anthony was exactly who we thought he was, a nigga. Cooley Cat, I'm not on StreamYards. I'm on Streamlabs. So this is a single show. This is an individual show. But Omni says, but But what? Karmelo Anthony was a nigga. And he was upset that day because his girlfriend broke up with him and he didn't have no more access to pussy. So since he didn't have no more access to pussy, he decided that he was already an individual who had bad anger issues. He was already an individual who loved fights and loved guns and violent behaviors. This man was a product of his environment. Not the environment that he was brought to, but the environment that he came from. It's almost like what Omni said, but are the jurors black though? I don't think black jurors, violent individual who sent the text message saying that he wanted to lick the tip after he stabbed somebody. Are you a homosexual? You homosexual? Most homosexual. Let's continue.
But sometimes we don't allow them. But usually, and again, to me, the real problem here is that it was not a judge making this decision. It was the prosecution and the defense making this gentleman's type of old school agreement. That's strange.
Yeah.
That's bizarre. And there's a reason why it's old school. It shouldn't be part of any new school. It shouldn't be part of the way a case is tried.
Sure
right?
not.
You want the evidence in?
Yep.
Put it in front of the judge and let the judge decide whether or not it should lawfully come in based upon what the law and the case law of the state is. And then if that judge made a mistake, let the court above them, the appellate court, take a look at it.
Yep.
Don't figure it out for yourselves because it's not good for the people of the state, for the prosecution. You're not doing them any justice, and you're not doing justice for your client either.
Well, I think here's one other line too from the NBC DFW update. Quote, Howard agreed with Wilson, who's one of the new appellate attorneys, kind of part of this new higher profile legal team that Karmelo Anthony has. Karmelo Anthony was not present at the off-record hearings he alleges took place. So this negotiation was made, amongst attorneys, and, who knows what the conversations were with Karmelo Anthony. But, these are, I'm sure Karmelo Anthony would not have wanted the text message he sent about allegedly stabbing, to be included. But it just seems like, and I know you hire an attorney, that these legal decisions are being made behind closed doors. And it seems like it really backfired on them in the end, because the way that Karmelo's new legal team describes what happened.
CCD says, imagine police going to a crime scene and saying, well, let's just take what we want and forget the rest of the evidence. Just sprinkle a little cocaine on them. Huh? Aunt Anton Chigurh says, is that the cleaner? That's the knife. The knife that he had text his girlfriend and said, I'm on the verge. I want to stab somebody and I want to lick the tip. I'm still in confusion of what grown man uses those words in the sentence. I want to lick the tip. I don't know if y'all came from the old school of how things, you used to be in what. Don't no man say, yeah, man, I'm going to lick the tip. You gonna do what? Why are you so, Lord, you aggressive? Yeah, I'm a lick the tip, nigga. Damn. It's kind of wild, my brother. You shouldn't be saying to people that you're going to lick the tip. It's kind of.
And is pretty much it's time to decide whether Karmelo Anthony is going to testify in his own defense in a self-defense trial. And the prosecution says, actually, you mentioned Karmelo likes chess in opening statements several days ago, and that violates the agreement that we're going to keep things under the tent and only talk about the altercation. So everything now is on the table. And if you put your client on the stand, we will be bringing up the fact that he sent these messages, that he went to some sort of juvenile program to control his anger when he was younger, they say. And, again, no matter what people think about the verdict, it just seems like a backdoor handshake. We're not going to put it on paper because we don't want the media to find out. It just kind of rubs you the wrong way. Just being on the outside of it. I'm not a lawyer, but it just.
Anton Chigurh says, somewhere Freezy is punching the air. I don't know what for. Hey, you know what? Shout out to Freezy. Because the grift be grifting, baby. And you know what? I'm happy for it. And I'm proud of Freezy because Freezy did what content creators should be doing. Lean into it. Get the people by the heartstrings. Get them to send the money, even if you don't truly believe it. A hustler gotta hustle, man. Huh? A hustler is gonna hustle. If you can sell ink to a pen, you a bad mother effer. I need you to be able to sell, to sell ink to paper, okay, without the pen, and include the pen as a DLC, downloadable content, right? Something extra they gotta pay for. And if they sweeten the deal, if they get 2 packs of paper, they can get a box of pens along with their purchase of ink if they pay 22.5% more. You got to be a hell of a salesman to make that deal. And not just Freezy. It's a whole slew of people that have been running up the grift on this whole Karmelo is innocent thing. And that's that. I'll take it back. Not that he's innocent, but that he didn't get a fair trial. And you know what? I'm in agreement with them. Karmelo Anthony did not get a full trial. And we, as the public, we didn't get a full trial either. You've had a lot of people who was charged up emotionally because of things that have been said about this trial. You have people who has ran up everything, ink to a squid. Yeah, you can sell ink to, you can sell stripes to a tiger. You understand me? You can sell a mane to a dog, huh? You know you a bad when you can sell teeth to a shark. That's how bad you is as a salesman. And ain't nobody a bigger grifter than all of those who have taken the time to build a audience around people who are emotionally driven and stuck within the delusional dribble of Karmelo Anthony didn't get a fair trial. Guess what? You're right. You're right. CCD says, without all the facts, public opinion is created by people's imagination, and that's never good. Yeah, you can sell ice to Eskimos. You can sell heat to fire. You understand me? Pastor says you are emotionally driven. Emotionally driven about what, Pastor? All I said was this nigga who was upset because his pastor broke up with him, that this nigga was a hooligan, and he decided to try to do his best assassinations creed on anybody. Pastor says we are just asking real questions. What real questions are you asking? And you know what, Pastor? I'll give it to you. You're asking the real questions. Did Karmelo Anthony get a fair trial? No, because we didn't know that. Y'all didn't know that he was. Appreciate Uncle Thompson and everybody over here. Thank you very much. But y'all didn't know that this boy was crazy and deranged. That he was sending text messages and he was talking about stabbing someone and licking the tip. That he was obsessed with violence. He was obsessed with guns. He was obsessed with knives. This boy received a I don't want to be with you no more. Huh? I'm writing you a 4-page letter. Huh? And I sealed it with a kiss. That boy got that text message. He said, I'm ready to stab everybody and I'm going to lick the tip. Whoa. Time out, brother. Pastor, are you asking real questions or are you only asking the questions that fit your narrative, Pastor? All right, let's continue.
You know, as someone who tries to think like a juror, again, that's just something that it feels like that context in hindsight. And I don't know.
Heather says they will end up saying it's all a lie and AI and Photoshop. Hey, no problem. Hey, you know what? Hey, Heather, watch this. Is that the same reason why Christine, you know, the mother of Nolan Wells, is that the same reason why she hasn't handed over the cell phone to the police yet? Excuse me. The grift ain't over yet. Is that the reason? Is that the reason why she haven't handed over the cell phone? Nolan Wells' cell phone to the police and the investigators? Is that the reason? I just want to know. I just want to know. Let's continue.
That factors into the decision. It just doesn't rub me the right way.
No, and it's going to be problematic. I mean, regardless of what the decision is made here to motion for a new trial, if the defense loses here, it's part of the appeal.
If the defense loses, he could get more time. I think my wife said this a while ago. If he loses here, or if they give him a new trial and all the evidence comes out, he could get more time. She just me said she hasn't handed over because she wants everyone there when they go through the phone. The offer is on the table. Oh, okay, cool. You can't do that. And if you're going to withhold evidence that can be substantial to the case, are you really seeking justice? Wait a minute. Hold on. Time out. We just uncovered a paradigm. Until I get what I want, I'm not going to give you what you need. In other words, unless we are able to paint the Metcalf twins as completely racist, we're not going to allow you to talk about the stabby stab behavior and the hooligan antic and the boy with the attitude. And Lord Jesus. It's a high stakes game, but now Heather says she deleted stuff out of it. That's why she don't want to hand it over. Heather, don't be saying things that make sense now. You can't be saying things that equal up to 4 when you do 2 + 2. You can't do that because we don't have all the evidence. How can we pass judgment on people without the full picture? How can you look at a canvas and say, this is a beautiful picture or this is a fucked up picture? If you don't have all the paintings, all that's there is just the pencil outline. You don't see the oils. You don't see the paints. You don't see the colors. You don't see the derivatives. You don't see nothing. But in this Karmelo Anthony case, you didn't see the text messages. You didn't see the behavior issues. You didn't see the prior records, nothing. All we could go on is what happened up under the tent. And the only thing that we saw is what happened up under the tent was a boy got pushed and he stabbed the shit out of somebody and he ran like a bitch. So, all right. Just Me says if they are innocent, they will meet her and go through the phone. The offer's on the table. Just Me. If she has nothing to hide, she will turn over the phone. Hey, Just Me also. If there was nothing to hide, why agree to this gentleman's deal when it comes to Karmelo Anthony? It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. I'm so happy. Let's go.
It's not good. It's not the way the system should work. Everything should be above board. There should not be secret deals or, handshake agreements.
Absolutely.
If you want the evidence in, put the evidence in. If you don't want the evidence in, don't put it in. That's what the judge gets paid to do, to make those decisions. That's
Absolutely.
the way it's set up. You, as
Just Me says, I would not give them my son's phone. They kept his throat and lungs. That's standard procedure in a case where there's assumed to be drowning or there's assumed to be foul play. That's standard procedure. But if you want the lungs and throat, fine, we'll give you the lungs and throat. Give us the phone. They could manipulate it. It wouldn't turn that phone over without witnesses being there going through it together like she has offered. Cool. Give us the phone and we'll go do what we need to do. If you don't want to give us the phone, you're stalling justice for your son. Here, I'll say this, right? Because the truth of the matter is this. And for all of you techies out there, y'all should know what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. For all you techies out there, if you're concerned about what's in the phone and what they will do, put a 1 in the chat if you want to know how you can ensure that what they do with the phone stays with what it is that you found in the phone. Just make a copy of the phone. Download everything that there is off of that phone. If you want to go hire a private investigator or a tech specialist or any of these people that claim that they have this background, Go download the phone. Download everything that there is to download off the phone. Make a literal clone of the phone and then give it over to the police. And if the police come out and they say something is in that phone that's not originally in that phone, hey, you proved your point that they're lying. But if you got something in that phone that you don't want the police to know about, you only make the case look worse. I'm just saying, 1 + 1 = 2. You got to play both. You can't in the game of basketball, you can't be the only one with the ball playing offense all day. That's not how that works. How does the other team score? It's not a fair game.
A case is tried, right? You want the evidence in, put it in front of the judge and let the judge decide whether or not it should lawfully come in based upon what the law and the case law of the state is. And then if that judge made a mistake, let the court above them, the appellate court, take a look at it. Don't figure it out for yourselves, because it's not good for the people of the state, for the prosecution. You're not doing them any justice, and you're not doing justice for your client either.
Well, I think here's one other line too, from the NBC DFW update. Quote, Howard agreed with Wilson, who's one of the new appellate attorneys, kind of part of this new higher profile legal team that Karmelo Anthony has. Karmelo Anthony was not present at the off-record hearings. And, these are, I'm sure Karmelo Anthony would not have wanted the text message he sent about allegedly stabbing, to be included. But it just seems like, and I know you hire an attorney, that these legal decisions are being made behind closed doors. And it seems like it really backfired on them in the end, because the way that Karmelo's new legal team describes what happened is pretty much it's time to decide whether Karmelo Anthony is going to testify in his own defense in a self-defense trial. And the prosecution says, actually, you mentioned Karmelo likes chess in opening statements several days ago, and that violates the agreement that we're going to keep things under the tent and only talk about the altercation. So everything now is on the table. And if you put your client on the stand, we will be bringing up the fact that he sent these messages, that he went to some sort of juvenile program to control his anger when he was younger, they say. And, again, no matter what people think about the verdict, it just seems like a backdoor handshake. We're not going to put it on paper because we don't want the media to find out. It just kind of rubs you the wrong way. Just being on the outside of it, I'm not a lawyer, but it just, as someone who tries to think like a juror, again, that's just something that it feels like that context in hindsight. And I don't know how that factors into the decision. It just doesn't rub me the right way.
That's a fact.
And it's going to be problematic. I mean, regardless of what the decision is made here at a motion for a new trial, if the defense loses here, it's part of the appeal. It's not good. It's not the way the system should work. Everything should be above board. There should not be secret deals or, handshake agreements. If you want the evidence in, put the evidence in. If you don't want the evidence in, don't put it in. That's what the judge gets paid to do, to make those decisions. That's the way it's set up. You, as the defense, are supposed to do anything and everything to get evidence in front of the jury to protect your client. The prosecution is supposed to have a search for the truth and put the evidence in there that demonstrates what really happened. And when they start engaging in gamesmanship, and the defense engages in gamesmanship, and the defendant is kind of left out of the loop of all of that, that's a problem. That's a violation of his rights, not by the state, but by his own attorney.
Yep.
And that becomes a huge problem. And it's a stain on the case at this point, and very well could undermine the entire trial, which they'll have to do over again if this thing is overturned at any point.
So you have Judge John Roach, who yesterday was recused from this. And I know I've used the term appeal, like what we're talking about here. This is a motion for a new trial. So just for people, non-lawyers like myself, where are we in the state of, we have this 2-day hearing, may go another day at the time we're recording this, about all these concerns the defense has. Karmelo has already filed a notice of appeal. What happens next in terms of the efforts of Karmelo Anthony and his team to try and get his conviction thrown out?
Yeah, so this is really the first bite at the apple, right? If you're a criminal defendant and you lose, you go before the same judge who oversaw the trial and you ask for a new trial based upon mistakes that were made. And it's rare that it gets granted because you're basically asking the trial judge to redo the trial that he just did because he or she made some mistakes along the way, right? So it's like a judge overturning himself or herself. And that's kind of why you don't usually win these. But in this case, because the judge has recused himself and is out of the loop, you've got a new judge that is hearing this. So it's almost like getting an actual appeal because you're going before a different judge on issues involving the trial court. So that's step one. If they lose here, then they've filed the notice of appeal. That's the process that takes a little bit longer because you've got to file the notice of appeal. You've got to get the transcript of the trial. Then you've got to write these very meticulous briefs, and there's a briefing schedule that is set up for each side to file their papers and respond to the other side. Then they set up oral arguments, and then the appellate court listens to the oral arguments, and then they, somewhere down the road, make their decision. This will be a lot quicker. This is the first bite of the apple, but it's not the last if Karmelo Anthony loses.
And the other argument, one of a couple that his new legal team is making is concern about how there was no video that was allowed to be recorded. We couldn't live stream this trial. There was no audio recording that was allowed. Like, we didn't hear what this testimony sounded like. And prosecutors are saying the reason for that, like, in some ways, a security issue. You did have a judge, the original judge on this case, she got doxxed. I remember that in the very beginning. There was concerns about safety because this was such a racially charged case. You saw influencers on the outside, which were talked about today during this hearing, people who are trying to monetize off of murder. And the prosecutors say that's the reason why the judge made the decision to limit.
Specifically, people who was named Tiffany Mikado Buildings. Yes, the fat bitch who sat here and threatened my children and who said negative things about a multitude of people all across TikTok and other platforms of social media, saying that she wished what happened to Austin would happen to my children. Yes, Tiffany was named in today's hearing. Oh, what a glorious day it was.
Access to the trial. And each state is different. State like Florida, you're going to get access, almost every single time. Federal court, you don't. In Texas, it's kind of hit or miss by the county. There were also concerns about, there's only so many seats allowed in the courtroom. And so a lot of members of the public were turned away every single day. How strong of an argument? Because I recognize, there's only so many seats in a courtroom, and some states allow it more than others. How strong of an argument is that his right to this public trial was violated by this judge with the decisions that he made?
And I've seen arguments like this in other jurisdictions, in other cases where they've limited the public's access. And when we talk about the media is really just sort of a representative of the public, right? It's a public trial, and that's what you're entitled to. And there's case law in Texas about it, talking about a fair and open public trial. So once you start limiting the openness of the trial and the publicness of the trial, it becomes a problem. And that absolutely happened in this case. And yes, they have all these concerns, but guess what? That's par for the course. You sign up to be a judge, there's going to be cases that are controversial or cases that the public is invested in. That's just the nature of it. Like, that is part of the job. You're a public official overseeing a public case. And I think what we saw here is very similar to sort of the old school deal that was taking place. It's like, these folks, we're taking care of it. We don't want the rest of the world to see what's happening here. This is the way we do justice here. And that doesn't fly anymore. It's 2026. And I think this is going to be potentially another big problem in this case, having shut the public out and not provided reasonable access to a case. And especially a case like this, all the arguments that they're making why it should be limited is the reason why it should be open. All the public interest is the reason why you want more transparency. So the public.
Mike Hasbrew says, but there were reporters in the courtroom. That is reasonable access. Court TV is wild. Hey, Mike Hasbrew, it wasn't enough Karmelo supporters that wanted to report on the trial and live stream it and get super chats and cash apps and subscriptions and follows and hearts and It wasn't enough. Us as content creators, we want to make content. Let us in the courtroom so we can make content. That's what this was. That's what this was.
Can understand how the system is working or not working, so they can gain an ability to trust the system and see it in action. So when you limit something because there's so much attention, like, that's self-defeating. The whole reason for the public trial is when there is public interest in the case. So I think it's another problem here, and another potential reason that this case at some point may be overturned.
And that's the thing. I mean, even if you feel like, because in some ways, like, though we didn't know.
So let me get this right, because there's going to be an outpouring cry of a mass multitude of liberal content creators. And since their rights was violated to grift off of a trial involving the death of a young man, since they didn't get a right to grift, he should get a overturned conviction? Okay. All right.
A lot about what happened outside of the tent, use that term, of like on the outside. Like, it seemed like from witness testimony, we know that there was an altercation. We know that Austin Metcalf shoves Karmelo. You can see it in that blurry surveillance video. And then Karmelo responds with this stabbing. And in like terms of self-defense, it didn't seem like it would be that strong of an argument for Karmelo Anthony. But now there's all this stuff on the outside. And it's like, you know, we'll see if it has an impact on this case going forward. Just lastly, Vinny, the judge, he was recused from this case. He gives this interview a couple days after the verdict. And in that interview, he gives this answer. You know, here's the judge who restricted media access and all of that for whatever reason. But then he's asked, do you think that, you know, this was a fair verdict in the case? And he says it was fair because the jury reached it and it was a fair trial. And then Karmelo's team argues, well, that shows bias to the verdict that happened in your courtroom. You don't hear judges often talk. You don't. What did you make of, I guess, why would he do this interview?
I'm shocked. I'm absolutely shocked. You don't want the world to see you working, you know, attempting to do your job on the bench, but then you let them see you when you can control the conversation and you do an interview with the media.
Omni says, it makes sense if you're dumb as fuck. That's facts.
It's bizarre. It's rare. There's some states where the judges never talk about cases that they're involved in. In some instances, they may talk about them after the case has gone through the entire appellate process. But this one didn't even go through the motion for a new trial, and he's speaking already. Very unusual, unorthodox, and in most states, you would never, ever see that happen. So I was surprised, and potentially another problem in the case for this conviction to be upheld. It's just another problem. The judge himself created another issue.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens next. We're keeping an eye on these updates as they continue to come in, as Karmelo Anthony tries to have his murder conviction overturned.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Mike Hasbro says, so we are not going to talk about outbursts in the court? We not going to talk about outbursts in the court? Anton says, when you stand before God, you cannot say, but I was told by others to do this, or that virtue was convenient at the time. When you stand before when you stand before God, and die you shall be held accountable for your actions, not everyone else's influences. Shout out to Anton Chigurh for sending one Say Like podcast membership. Yes. And I see that Heather got the gifted membership. Shout out. Woo, woo, woo. I'm not on StreamYard, so I got to make up my own sound effects until I add my sound effects into Streamlabs. But shout out to Heather in the chat for getting a membership, and shout out to Anton for gifting the membership. Woo! Woo, 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 woo. So this is what this boils down to. You will be held accountable for your actions, not for other people's influences. You will be held accountable for your mistakes, not for everyone else's impulses, right? The truth of the matter is this. Yes, there was a lot to learn about who Karmelo was as a violent individual. There was a lot to learn about Austin Metcalf's use of racial slurs in graffiti art. Absolutely. Could one infer that Karmelo Anthony was an angry individual and just looking to stab somebody because he lost access to some pussy? One could infer that. Could one also infer that Austin Metcalf was a racist, a white boy, a racist, because he used racial slurs in graffiti? One could infer that. Could one also infer that everybody don't know what the fuck they talking about? Yes, one could infer that. But could it be just as simple as Karmelo Anthony has anger issues and Austin Metcalf should have kept him hands to himself? Yes, one could infer that too. But did he deserve to die? That's the question. And none of this, all of these things that people are just now finding out, still has not answered my question. Did Austin Metcalf deserve to die because he pushed Karmelo Anthony? And this is this is the sad part, right? For those who say that, yes, Austin Metcalf deserved to die because he's put his hands on Karmelo Anthony, right? Omni says one could infer the white man's push is stronger. Yes. Right? But the sad part is this. Whether you agree or not, I would rather people say the truth. That don't nobody give a damn that white boy is dead. For all you Karmelo supporters, I just want you to say it. Just be honest. Don't nobody give a damn that white boy is dead. Just say it. Say it and be honest instead of painting up your racial narrative with all of your pretty and petty, nuanced bullshit, right? Like someone said to me, the things you say and the critiques that you give, they aren't nuanced. I wish people would be honest instead of being nuanced. What's up, Joker? What's happening? Right? It's a whole lot simpler for you to be honest. Please, by all means, right? I wish. Let me get close to it. Hold on for a second, y'all. Let me get a little up close and personal for you right quick. If you're watching on this phone and you're a supporter of Karmelo, I think that this intervention that we're having right here, this one-to-one personalized situation that we're having through the phone, I think it would be better for you mentally and spiritually if you could just say, don't nobody give a damn that white boy is dead. Or there's option number 2. Yes, he deserved to die, and I hope he burned in hell because he put his hands on that black boy. I wish you'd say it. I wish you'd say it. And the sad part is, when you say it, you're now putting yourself in a position to be no different than what the white sheet, white men were saying and doing, and how it is that they were justified, and the mass hysterical deletions of the multitudes of black people and how it is that they wore a badge and carried gun and nightstick, and how it is that they assaulted people, hung people from trees, put water hoses on them, dogs on them, put them on fire, everything. Yes, by all means, this is the race war y'all wanted. And like I said, Karmelo Anthony is a nuclear bomb to the black community. He is. And if we being 1,000% honest, why everybody's so all up in arms about Nolan Wells, it's not that big of a case. Right? Shanini says, Tupac matters. Austin was white. People care less about white boy taking just 6 years sooner than Tupac. Babies are babies. Can we stop killing? One would hope that they would come to that conclusion, but they can't. First Best Gigi, what's going on, TT? Heather says the thing is they have proof of text messages. Do they have proof of this so-called graffiti? One would like to know. I would like to see a picture of Austin Metcalf with a spray can spraying graffiti. But I would also like to see the text message thread from Karmelo Anthony. Oops, my bad. Oops. Y'all need to see the text message thread from Karmelo. Oops, my bad. Oops. The jury needs to see that text message thread. Right? Shadow Observer says, I can see a mistrial coming on purpose, and the dad makes unexpected cash outs starring appearance. I can see that there's going to be a retrial, right? And I told everybody, my wife told everybody, there's a very slim chance that he gets another trial. Cool. Let's say he gets another trial. And then let's say he gets more time. Crash out. Oh, my bad. I got you. And he gets more time. Then what? Is the Karmelo supporters going to be acceptable of the new sentencing? Right? Because the truth of the matter is, like I said, what if he gets more time? Then what? Now all bets are off. You got your new trial. You got your new judge. I think you should let all of the content creators that want to be there go live streaming. Yes, let them go live streaming. Let them do live streams from the courtroom. Let them show the text messages. Bring everybody in. Bring in the brother. Bring in the girlfriend. Bring in Tiffany Billions. Bring in the previous the defense attorney. Bring in the mama. Bring in the daddy. Bring in both daddies. Fuck it. Fuck it. Fuck it. Bring in everybody. Let this trial go on for another year. Fuck it. As my father used to say, fuck it. Bring it on. Let the whole entire case go on for another year. And then let the jury decide that, yeah, either he's a violent hooligan snicker who was upset because his pussy broke up with him and he was just looking for somebody to stab. Or say that he's completely innocent and we want the jury to say in a statement by finding him either innocent or a lesser charge that the white man's push is so dangerous that he deserves to die if he puts his hands on you. Yes, set that precedent. Set that precedent in America that the white man's push is that damn dangerous that he deserves to die. By all means, go ahead. I love a little bit of anarchy. One of my favorite animes out there is Fist of the North Star. The post-apocalypse is right around the corner. Huh? And there's only so many bottle caps that you can trade over. Eventually, some of y'all are going to have to start licking the tip like Karmelo Anthony said in that text message. I just want to stab somebody and then lick the tip. You want to lick the tip? Heather says, no, buildings will be caught fire and town halls will be tore up. That's a fact. Like somebody said, and I ain't gonna say no content creator's name, but I know the content creator who said it. I'm just not trying to have no more YouTube beef. If Karmelo ain't found innocent, we gonna burn this motherfucker to the ground. You gonna do what? Karmelo need to be found innocent, or we gonna burn this motherfucker down. Say it in the chat. We gonna burn burn this motherfucker down. We gonna burn it to the ground. Karmelo need to be found innocent, or we gonna burn it to the ground. Burn it to the ground. Okay. We gonna burn it to the ground. Cause we playing for the Karmelo. Karmelo got to get the 12 the hit the end of the boy. All right. Go for it. And then shout out to Anton with the $5. He says, the good fight. Greatly appreciate you, big homie. Thank you very much. And in the words of my OG, Dave Anderson, shout out to the DAM Morning Show. What gave it away? What gave it away? What gave it away was you niggas. That's who gave it away. Y'all did. But I just always want y'all to remember that I said over a year and a half ago, hey, Karmelo, you think you want those text messages to come out? Do you really want people to know to find out what you said? I don't think you want people to find out what you said. I don't think you want people to find out how you really felt when old girl told you it was hopeful. It's too late to apologize. It's too late. It's so many jokes. I need a girl who right. I need a girl. Listen, Brother Man said that he was ready to just let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. Like, bruh, because she broke up with you? It's the power of the PUSSY. Just saying. Shanann says, why do things have to get burned down? I'll never understand what that is supposed to prove about behavior. Oh, what it proves about behavior is that Karmelo ain't the only one when it comes to niggas acting like niggas over some pussy. Is that apparently women's vagina is so strong. Women's vagina, and to all you ladies in the chat, I need y'all to learn about the power of your vaginas now. That women's vagina is so strong that it will make you go stab someone. Look at Mind Chaos Brew talking about, yes, it is. Yes. It's the power of the PUSSY. Huh? It's so strong. It's so strong. Women, to all y'all ladies in the chat, y'all got some dangerous punani out there. That if you cut a man off, he will get to texting you. He will be obsessed with you. Talking about he wanna stab somebody and he on the verge. He real low. He wanna stab somebody and lick the tip. Ma'am, ladies in the chat. Look, Almanac says, and it wasn't even black pussy. It wasn't even black pussy. Huh? It will make people call you a heathen because yours has more power than theirs. Oh, Lord. Not vagina wars. The Shadow Observer says, yes, sir. Crazy and the range. Archangel Yvette says, I came in at the right time. Yes. Michael D says, what's even more sad, Will, is some of these clowns will still find a reason to make excuses for Karmelo's behavior because they see in themselves, they see in Karmelo exactly what they see in themselves, is that they will crash out over some Latino pussy. Catch. Oops. Y'all thought I wasn't going to say nothing about it. That Latino pussy was so good that Karmelo went out and stabbed the white man. Oh, Lord. Oh, the jokes. The jokes. So now, Latino pussy. Huh? Now here we go now. Archangel Yvette. Huh? That Latino pussy was so dangerous. It was so good. Have a man changing guards. You understand? Hey, brother B, he be Christian as hell. I shut up about all this shit. I shut up. He gets some pussy. That boy, he gonna walk up in the church like, Nomine doom say swooms. Nomine doom say swooms. It's over. Ladies, listen, if your pussy is that good that you got niggas changing spiritual leaders, Lord have mercy. Lord mercy. Huh? Hey, wench, what's going on? Your vagina should not be that damn dangerous. Men, fellas, y'all got to stop being suckers for love. Who made that song? And we'll be all night. Wow! Who made that song, y'all? Who made that song? And we'll be all night. Wow! I got up grinding on that wood. I'm still by now. Who did that song? Beyonce. That's who did it. Huh? Beyonce did that song? Okay. Cool. And now you got young men. And you got, this is the sad part, you have older men who is justifying the crash out over some Latino poontang. Now I know why. Oops. Jokes is on y'all. Now we know why y'all defended Karmelo. Because Karmelo don't got a black woman. Oh, damn. There it is. I found it. Damn, Will is the only one. Is she the only woman that Karmelo was with over some poontang? Now we know why you Negroes is defending Karmelo. Because Karmelo didn't have a black woman. Uh-oh. What gave it away? What gave it away? Shout out to Dave Anderson. Woo! The lovers of white women or other than black women. If she ain't black, you got to attack. Hey, because look, here's the funny part. Guess who else didn't have a black woman? Nolan Wales. Apparently he had a white woman. Uh-oh. Nolan Wales had a white woman too. Hey, one of the story goes that he let his friends get on the boat. He let them drive the boat. That his friends drove the boat. They say, we gonna get on the boat. Appreciate you, DeWentz. Bracy. What gave it away? Listen, Shadidi says that girl was said to be white on that island. Uh-oh. What happened? I just want to know what happened. Maybe y'all not as blackity black as y'all say y'all is. Especially because you're supporting black men who date non-black women. There it is, y'all. All right, well, it's been real. And I will holler at y'all later. Bye.
Lights out. City still. While they dream soft, I'm already in motion. Clock hit late, house quiet, mind still sharp. They under the covers, I'm under the dark. No noise in the hallway, no phone in my hand, just the weight of the work in the plan that I plan. I move when they sleep while the soft ones rest. While they chase comfort, I'm still in the test. Detroit taught early, don't wait for the light. If you want it real bad, you get up in the night. Seen too many talk big, then fold when it's hard. Seen the ones who stay up, still carry the guard. So I move in the silence, no crowd, no stage. Just the same old fire that don't need no praise.
It's not like I move when they sleep. Still got that while the weak ones dream. I move when they sleep, building quiet in me. No lights, no cameras, just the grind in the chest. I move when they sleep, put the soft ones to rest. They wake up later, still wondering why I'm already moving while they close their eyes.
Bass walking heavy, organ humming low. Snare crack clean, kick pushing every blow. They sleep on the truth, sleep on the code, sleep on the men who still carry the load. I ain't mad at the rest, I just don't take part. I'd rather stay hungry than get soft in the heart. Late nights built legends, quiet hours built kings, while the loud ones slept on the realest of things. So I keep the same hours that the real ones keep. Out here still moving while the soft ones sleep.
I move when they sleep, while the weak ones dream. I move when they sleep, building quiet in me. No lights, no cameras, just the grind in the chest. I move when they sleep, put the soft ones to rest. They wake up later, still wondering why I'm already moving while they close their eyes.
Let them rest, let them dream soft. I'll be right here, still carrying the cost.
I move when they sleep, while the weak ones dream. I move when they sleep, building quiet in me. No lights, no cameras, just the grind in the chest. I move when they sleep, put the soft ones to rest. They wake up later, still wondering why I'm already moving while they close their eyes.
Still moving,
Still building
while they sleep.